Humanities Project presentation, The Despicable Tailor by Renee Reynolds. Almost there, and wow, that stitching is perfect. I jumped, startled, and almost stabbed myself with my needle. Thank you, master, I muttered through gritted teeth. Do you think next time you could make your presence known rather than creeping over my shoulder and shouting in my ear? Now, you know I'm old and my sight is going. But by the way your skills are advancing, I could be calling you Master Bernard in a few weeks. Your parents would have been very proud, you know. My parents. The man and woman who gave up their own son to a strange tailor when he was just an oblivious little boy. After my mother gave birth to me, her second son, it was decided that I would be given to a merchant to learn his craft, because my older brother would inherit everything, leaving nothing for me but my name. Ahem. The sound of a man clearing his voice disintegrated my flashback, bringing me back to reality. I am here to pick up my trousers, he stated. Standing before me was a man who was clearly of the middle class. He wore an exotically colored shirt and vest. His shoes were of the finest leather. His hat was large and ostentatious, with rare feathers, and his clothing was all made of top-quality silk, traded to our native country, France, from China. I was here yesterday for my measurements, and an old man with foresight told me my trousers would be completed today. Why, yes, of course, monsieur. I happen to have them right here, I exclaimed, and grabbed the neatly folded trousers I made yesterday from the table behind me. The man was surprised at and complimented the quality of the work. I thanked him, and he left. I went back to working on my stitching pattern of a vest. My mind started to wander, and I thought about what my master had said about my skills. I considered all the pieces of clothing for my masterpiece, but nothing outstanding came to mind. In what felt like minutes, the sky was dark and the work-day was over, so I took inventory of the extravagant thread supply, making certain that master's coveted special roll of felt was still unused, closed up shop, and headed home in the heavy rainstorm. That night I thought long and hard about my masterpiece. The next day I started constructing a fashionable accessory to cover the head. After finishing multiple prototypes, I was working on my final masterpiece using master's coveted felt material, with his permission, when a man walked into the shop, and, after looking at my masterpiece in progress, I recognized he was the very man who came to pick up his trousers just yesterday. Greetings. I do not know if you remember me, but I recently purchased a pair of trousers, and I just wanted to say that the quality was extraordinary. I came back again today to purchase another pair. I was astonished, speechless. When I came back to my senses, I managed to spit out, "I think we still have your measurements. I'll get started right away." As the man was leaving, something caught his eye, and he turned back around. With a quizzical brow, he asked, "Excuse me, but what is that?" referring to my masterpiece in progress amongst my messy threads and needles. "Oh my, that's nothing. It's just a new hat I've been working on for my masterpiece." "Will you be selling them?" the man asked mischievously, rubbing his chin and squinting his eyes. "I don't believe so," I responded apprehensively. "What a shame, truly a shame," muttered the man, shaking his head, and left the shop. "Do you know who that was?" shouted master in my ear from over my shoulder. "That's Eugene Clement, the renowned tailor and clothing designer." Based on my master's fanatical reaction, I believed him about the stranger's identity. However, I had never heard of him, so I continued working on my masterpiece. After a few days I was almost finished. Almost there, and "Is that your finished masterpiece?" I heard in my ear, breaking my concentration. Stabbing myself in the finger with a needle, I yelled, "Yes, master, yes it is." "It's fantastic!" he exclaimed. "We should put those in the shop to sell." Just as master said that, a customer walked in wearing an exact copy of my hat, even the felt material. I nearly knocked master over when I flew out of my chair and landed in front of the customer. "Where did you get that?" I interrogated. Wide-eyed with fear, the frightened man stammered, at Eugene Clement's shop. It's his new invention." Completely bewildered, I marched right out of the shop and straight into the street. Asking the first person I saw for directions, I ran all the way to Eugene Clement's shop to confront him. "You filthy swine, you stole my idea!" I screamed at Eugene Clement as I burst into his shop. You can't prove anything, Eugene said calmly. False, I bellowed. If this was truly your idea, then where are your sample sketches, your first test garments until you got the final product? You stole the idea from looking at my masterpiece, and Master was a witness who can attest to it. Also, where did you get the fabric? My master's shop is the only shop in Europe to own that type and color of felt. You have stolen not only my idea, but also the best and sacred fabric from my shop. I ran back out into the street and grabbed the first soldier police officer I could find. I explained my situation to him, and he arrested the despicable Eugene Clement. The credit for the hat was publicly stripped from Eugene Clement's name and given to me. I became a successful master, inheriting Master's shop after he eventually went blind, and became richer than my elder brother who inherited the patrimony.